And we're live.
Yes, guys, we are live. So let's give it another 2 minutes just for people who might want to be broadcasting to join. Minutes just for people who might want to be broadcasting to join. Minutes just for people who might want to be broadcasting to join. Minutes just for people who might want to be broadcasting to join.
Good day, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Yep.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Um, Thanks for taking out time to join on today's Hangout on Air. Generally, the whole idea of having the Hangouts, our monthly Hangouts on Air, is to generally stay connected with the community and improve on the communication channels, give you an opportunity to ask us questions, and give you updates of what's going on right here at the SSA Developer Relations team, and generally gets feedback from anyone who has questions, contributions, or suggestions to make. So this is going to be something where we will all participate and we'll solicit your questions, and we look forward to doing this every month, combining this with our bi-weekly emails and ensuring that everyone's in the loop about what's going on and how we can make our communities better and stronger and have better impact on the entire region. So I'm just going to quickly introduce everyone who's here. So I'm Anieti Ujobong. I joined Developer Relations team about 3-4 months ago, and I sit in Lagos, Nigeria. On the panel with me, I'll just mention their names and everyone will briefly say hi, and for formality's sake also introduce themselves. So Charles is with me, Ken is with me, Ken is dialing in from Nairobi, and Mercy is also in from Nairobi. So Charles.
Hello, everyone. This is Charles. You guys know me. Nice to be here, and it's great that we're starting this Hangout on air. We've always wanted to do this. It's really nice that we are kicking this off, and we hope to keep the momentum up. I sit with Aniedi here in Lagos, and we hope to do great things for the community. Nice to have you guys here.
Ken?
Hi everyone, Kenneth here. I've been in the GDG community for about 4 years now. I'm happy to join you guys and in this Hangouts on air, and pleasure to meet you all.
Mercy?
So thanks, Aniedi. My name is Mercy Orangi. So previously a GDG Nairobi co-organizer, and now in the Developer Relations team in Sub-Saharan Africa. And I think it's great to have all of you here. Thanks a lot for getting the time. And looking forward to just interacting with you and just seeing how we can take our GDGs to the next level and our WTM chapters to the next level. So keep interacting. Just a reminder, on our G+ page, you'll see the Hangout. You can keep commenting in there, and there's a link to the doc where you can ask questions, and we'll be keeping an eye on that. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Mercy. So just quickly run through the agenda. A few items I want to talk about. We have the PWA Summit, the Progressive Web App Summit, coming up on the 20th and 21st of June. We reached out to a lot of our GDGs, and we got a very positive response. We've been also able to talk to some of the internal teams on Google who are managing the Progressive Web App Summit, and we're glad that they've supported us. But as we talk a little more about this Progressive Web App Summit, we'd just like to mention some caveats and some do's and don'ts. And while this will apply directly to the PWA Summit, it's something we're also going to be looking forward to adopting as we go through different event seasons during the year. So the preference for the PWA Summit is to have live sessions on Monday the 20th, where there'll be a keynote, and there'll be session follow-ups after the keynote. And then on Tuesday the 21st, there will also be sessions, code labs. It's generally a hands-on thing, and we know that progressive web apps are kind of like a bet for the future. We believe that that is where a lot of web apps will try to cut into the market of Android apps, give users a fantastic experience, and progressive web apps are really very relevant for our ecosystem. Things about working offline, add to home screen, being able to dive into an app quickly without having to install it and then get the experience. There's a lot of opportunity in progressive web apps, and here at Google, we're leading the adoption of progressive web apps across the entire internet or web browser ecosystem. And for that reason, we really want to plug in as sub-Saharan African communities to what's going on globally. This is also a favorable time for us because the PWA Summit is holding in Amsterdam, so it's kind of better than when it holds maybe in North America, US, like IO, and then we're all behind and 9 hours ahead. So this is a little bit better for us. So we want to give ourselves a very good account and be part and parcel of this live stream experience. Very importantly is the hashtag for the PWA Dev Summit. People need to know that we are part of the PWA Dev Summit. The hashtag is actually #PWA Dev Summit. This is contained in our organizer guide. So it's very important that when we are tweeting about the event on social media, on Google+, we use this hashtag exclusively. Please don't add anything to the hashtag. Don't say PWA Days, PWA Dev Summit Lagos, or PWA Dev Summit Nigeria. It's just #PWA Dev Summit. If you're doing something in your GDG chapter, or you want to mention your GDG, please mention it as a separate hashtag. So you can say #PWA Dev Summit, #GDG Nairobi, or #PWA Dev Summit, #GDG Lagos, or #GDG Uyo. Don't join them together, and please don't corrupt the PWA Dev Summit hashtag. Whether you're on Twitter, whether you're on Facebook, it should stand on its own. Please do mention your community, because that's another way that globally they will track and know that what's going on in Amsterdam is also happening live all across the world. Disbursement of funds has already started. So if you were approved, I think all those who were approved for their live summits are aware. Please do your best to publicize your events. We really want a good coverage. We want great numbers. One thing we're working on within SSA is to make sure we are recognized. So it's very important to have numbers, verifiable numbers with pictures, with the right kind of developers, right demographic age of people in the rooms where we're having these live streams. In addition, please go to dev sites and make sure you've registered your event so that it can easily be tracked. And then use the right hashtag there as well. Make sure you put PWA Dev Summit. And you can also put your GDG separated by commas, but make sure your event is listed on dev sites. And as quickly as possible, when your event is over on the 20th or the 21st, please go back to dev sites and update with your attendance figures. So like we said, funds have started being disbursed, and hopefully over the next 2-3 days and Monday inclusive, everyone should get their fund support. That's that about the PWA Dev Summit. Content of the PWA Dev Summit is exclusive to progressive web apps and to web technologies. There are code labs. We provide enough guides. There are code labs from IO 2016 on the developer sites. The live stream is something you can tune into. Make sure you have a good internet connection, have a backup, maybe a small dongle or something that you can at least project on one laptop or one screen, and then people can follow. Let's know that we're watching the live stream. Let it be very obvious that in sub-Saharan Africa we care about web apps. Any questions you have on PWA Dev Summit, please put in the document. Do we have any questions so far? Just a quick one.
Not concerning the PWA Summit per se, so I think we'll handle the questions at the end.
Okay, great. So we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, pardon me, and that is mentor elections. First of all, we want to say a very big thank you to our mentors. mentoring GDG communities over the last 2.5 years. It's been very crucial to the growth of our communities. Globally, there's been a lot of recognition, a lot of applause for what our mentors have done. And we also strongly believe that we can build upon that. We can be a model for the whole world. And we can actually even improve on the system, make it more inclusive, make communication more active. And we will discuss a little bit about the process. This process should start tomorrow, Friday, 17th of June. And the mentor selection process probably will end on Thursday, the 23rd of June. So we have about a week to go through this. Please, the concept of mentors and the mentor program is very essential to our communities. So I want all our GDG organizers to take this quite seriously. Know that a mentor is very crucial. We'll soon be hearing from one of our mentors who's on the call right now. He'll just talk about a little bit about his experience, and he'll talk a little bit about what he hopes to see out of the mentor program. Probably even encourage other people to, one, select their mentors carefully, and two, aspire to be great mentors, because he can talk from his own experience about being a mentor on the program. So before I call Ken to talk about that, I just want to emphasize once again that the voting for the mentor program will start on the 17th of June and will end on the 23rd of June. We hope to announce results by the 4th of July, and there'll be a lot of processes and a lot of things going on during that period. Just a little bit about how they will work. There's a mentor nomination form, or there's a mentor selection form that will go out, and you would be offered 3 choices in most regions. In some regions, it might be 2 choices. So you have a first choice, you have a second choice, and you have a third choice. Please, the person you would most likely want in your region, in your cluster to be your mentor, put the person's name as first choice. And then the next most suitable person in your opinion should be your second choice, and the next most suitable person should be your third choice. So you have 3 choices, and make sure that your most preferred mentor or your most preferred organizer who you would like to mentor your community should be your first choice, just like you would do if you were going into school, or like is very well known in Nigeria if you were writing JAM. So please put your mentor nomination, your preferred nomination, as your first choice, and then we can have your second and third choices as backup. In addition, we will there's some information on the form describing how you will be. First of all, you will receive an email, and then we'll provide as much information as possible on the form description to guide you. You are electing mentors, and these mentors are active organizers and possibly mentors from your region or from your cluster, from your sub-region. So if you are in Nigeria, you're not supposed to go to South African GDG and fill a form and choose a mentor there. That sort of result will be disregarded. Please just stick only to the form that belongs to your cluster, and then choose the mentor you believe will serve you the best. Yeah, at this point, I'd like to just give a shout out to all the mentors. We thank you for being part of the program, and we would just like to hear a word or two from one of our outgoing mentors from the current regime, Kenneth Kianji.
Hi everyone, hi Africa. My name is Kenneth Kinenji. I've been a country mentor for Kenya since November of 2014. This is about 1.5 years. I took over the mentorship program. I'm the second mentor in Kenya. The first mentor was Said Fouad, who really grew the GDGs. He grew the GDGs from 3 to about 8 GDGs in Kenya. By the time I was taking over, we had 8 active GDGs, and we have scaled now to about 18 GDGs in Kenya alone. I have gotten a chance to really work with GDGs across the country, mentor, steer up new ones, We have had a couple of very successful dev fests in all the regions in Kenya, and this has been very amazing. Just a little bit to mention about the mentorship and a bit of my experience. This project, the mentorship program was first piloted in Africa, the GDG mentors, and it started with, was championed by Dan Frank, who most of the GDGs know. And there was a lot of projects with to make sure that GDGs were successful, and they had someone who would be a direct contact with Google and make sure that they were always in sync with DevRel and the GDGs, because the GDG program really scaled. There have been a couple of projects that I've personally been part of, such as the GDG Wisdom project, which I'm also one of the wisdom keepers right now. And I represent SSA in that project. And anytime you're starting a new GDG, you go to the GDG Wisdom project and try and see all the best practices from all over the globe. Lastly is as the GDG country mentor and doing all these activities, it really improved my community resume and presence until I got nominated as a Google Developer Expert. And I've seen a lot of similar people transitioning to become experts and just giving back to the community. So I'll just like to mention that when you're doing the nominations tomorrow, throughout the nomination period and choosing a new GDG, choose your GDG country mentor wisely. Look at someone who's available for the community. They have time, they're really passionate, they really like mentoring people, and and most of all, they're ready to serve. So being a GDG country mentor doesn't mean that you're the big boss, you're gonna be bossing people around, but basically you're gonna be serving your GDGs and trying to help them become better country managers, sorry. So just try and look at an individual in the community who has been very active. They have led a chapter. You can see their passion and everything, and someone that you want to elect. Yeah, and something else, don't be afraid to re-elect someone that you feel, if a GDG country mentor is already existent and you feel like this is the person you still want to lead you, don't feel shy to renominate them back, if they're ready to serve, that is. And also give a chance to new people, and also just reach out to other GDG organizers in your country, and just tell them, hey, I'm ready to be a mentor, and I'll need your support. So those are some of the initiatives that you should look at. So I just want to reiterate on those. Choose wisely. Look for someone who's very available. They have prioritized the community. That's something that's very key. If you notice something with all the country mentors, they are very present, and they help in the day-to-day issues within their region. Someone who's ready to mentor people, make sure that all the GDGs in his region are up to date. Someone who's ready to serve. So just remember, when you're a mentor, you're not a big boss. It's just that you're gonna be serving. Someone who's ready to volunteer, and someone who's looking for a lot of collaboration and cohesiveness within their region. So kindly look at those factors, and when you're doing your nominations, and that will be good. So I'll hand it back to Aniedi, and hope that we see the next generation of country mentors coming in for Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ken. That was a very nice run through of the GDG program. Just before I jump at your questions, I see there are a couple of questions in the doc. I just want to do a quick shout out to all our country mentors. In no particular order, more like alphabetical order. From Cameroon, we had Isaac Kamga. Thank you very much for being a mentor. In Cote d'Ivoire, we had Habib Cisse. the DR Congo, we had Michelle Isamuna. Ghana, we had Kobe Subramaniam. Thank you, Kobe. We just heard from Kenya, Kenneth Kianjui. Nigeria, Femi Taiwo, the guy who has more GDG chapters than that's a big one. Thank you, Femi, for managing Nigerians. That's not very easy. I can say that with ease. South Africa, Ishmael Makilta has been very instrumental. We thank you for Ishmael for keeping the program up and running in South Africa, for growing the GDGs as well. Uganda, we have Nicholas Kamanzi, did very well. We did see a lot of progress also from Lusophone, Portuguese-speaking Africa, Eric Kande. Eric Kande also is moving on to other things, if I'm not mistaken, and unfortunately may not be available or will not be available for GDG nomination, or GDG mentorship nomination. So we really thank Eric for the work he did, and we look forward to seeing some other fantastic mentors from Portuguese-speaking Africa coming on board. Last but not the least, and generally because he had 14 or 40 or even 400 countries under his purview, I want to say a big thank you, a big shout out to Cyprian. Thank you. I came on board, and in no small way, I've seen the amazing work Cyprian has done. I hardly knew him before I joined Google, but when I started looking back at some of the posts that I used to see on Google Dev Africa and in GDG Plus pages, I think he's done a very fantastic job grooming and growing the communities in Benin, Burkina Faso, Chad, Congo, Mali, Mauritania, Niger, Rwanda, Senegal, and Togo. Also being bilingual, Cyprian has been very helpful, doing a lot of translation. He translates almost every email that comes our way, and we're very glad to see that he was committed so much time and energy to the GDG program in Francophone Africa. So thank you very much, Cyprian. I think at this stage we can segue into some of the questions so that, yes, let's hear. Mercy?
Sure. So I'm just keeping an eye on the doc. If you have any questions, continue adding them. I'll keep an eye on them. So let me start with what is urgent, because the mentor nomination process starts tomorrow. So Anidi and Charles, so people are asking, what's the criteria for a candidate to be a country mentor? Yeah, so do we have any criteria for someone who wants to be a country mentor?
So I'll start by saying that first, that candidate has to be a vibrant GDG organizer. And pardon my use of the word vibrant, I hope that's not so complex, but I basically mean someone who is active in the community, or someone whose GDG chapter is active. So the form that I'll be going, the nominees that are in that form are organizers from only active chapters. So that even gives an indication that if your chapter is not active, automatically you don't fit the criteria, at least for voting. So you have to be an organizer from an active chapter, that's one. And then two, you have to be someone who's committed to the growth of the community. Some organizers, in all fairness to them, do awesome and they do great, but majorly focus only on technical things. Whereas there are other organizers who also spend time in mentoring others. So a worthy criteria will be someone who, beyond doing tech or doing great things, is also committed to growing others, reaching out to others, helping others, right? So we've seen organizers who do that. So as far as we are concerned, those are actually the two key things. You are an active organizer from an active GDG, and you have the skills and the commitments to grow and mentor others. Ultimately, it lies in the votes or the nominations from the community, but these are the things that we from Google will look out for. I hope that answers that question.
Yeah. Then I think probably you could emphasize that these upcoming mentors from tomorrow going forward might actually cover more than one country, right?
Oh, yes, yeah. That's a great point. So we had to review the regions or countries or clusters that the mentors will be covering. So there are new countries, not necessarily new countries, like there are no new countries in Africa, but the new mentors in this dispensation might be covering countries that the previous mentors did not cover, right? So that information will be shared in the email that will be going out today and in the form. So for example, we could have a region. So before now, we had a region called Francophone Africa, right? Let's use that as an example. And that was a region that Cyprian was covering. And we had several countries there. So we could be having such sort of clusters now beyond just Francophone Africa that will have 1, 2, 3 more countries. So if you are being nominated as a mentor, this time, the nomination form contains information about the countries in the cluster that you will be serving.
Interesting. So the other question, I think, also connected to that will be someone is asking, so if the votes are being counted per GDG chapter, or are co-organizers who vote also recognized?
Sorry. So the way it works right now is that we're going to be filtering views from active organizers, and in all honesty, the number of votes is not per chapter, it's per active organizer. So the nominal count is going to be per organizer, per active organizer, not per chapter.
All right, cool. So, well, that means then if you're a co-organizer and you vote, your vote counts, right?
Co-organizers' votes count. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, next, someone is asking if the current country mentors are allowed to recontest.
So most of the country mentors, yes, will recontest, because apart from those who expressly said they were not available anymore to serve their communities for various reasons. I mean, many of those reasons are completely personal. Every other person who's a country mentor now and who's still an organizer, a co-organizer of a GDG is listed. So unless there has been an express request by a current country mentor for reasons either personal or best known to them, or maybe a matter of time or career, or someone relocating off the continent, current country mentors who are interested are listed, and unless there's any mistake or bug, they are eligible for voting, to be voted for, sorry.
Right.
So vote can be voted for.
So that means then, if, you know, I know of someone who probably was a mentor and isn't on the list, it's because, you know, of personal or, you know, extracurricular reasons that they gave, right?
So if you know of a mentor who is not in the list, it's safe in that instance to assume that he's probably reached out to us and say, hey, I'm moving on, I'm going for this big startup that's going to change the world, or I'm leaving the continent, or yeah, stuff like that.
Cool. I think, so those are the questions that were there on the mentor program, and as Charles and Anedi said, there'll be an email communication that is very detailed, and everyone will get it. Kindly vote before the deadline of next week, Thursday, so that, you know, your vote counts and you get the best mentor for the next coming year for your region. I think the next question will be on the PWA Summit. And someone is just asking if a chapter can still apply for support at this time.
So the general answer to that question is no. But so the default answer is no. But if you still feel you want to organize a PWA live summit viewing party, a live stream, please do well to reach out to us immediately. Let's see if there's any remote possibility we can attend to it. And for those who will be organizing post-live, recorded, time-shift viewing parties, while that is not the express intent of the PWA team, they
Mhm.
still recognize the fact that it's not possible to have these events. For instance, people in Australia, people in China, it's probably going to be midnight their time or some funny hour. Even people in the US who are 9 hours behind 10 a.m. It's probably going to be 1 a.m. in the US at the time when the PWA summit will be on. So there's a bit of a provision for follow-up events, and even internally within SSA Developer, if we look at events that will have the right impact, right code lab, the right quantity of content or quality of content, number of attendees, we're able to support. But if you really feel you have the audience, the publicity, the internet connectivity to still hold a PWA Summit live party at such short notice, 3 days from now, please do send Charles an email and keep me in copy. Someone asked a question here that I want to just quickly address it. Could you please type some of the information being relayed, because the internet connection is a bit slow. So the whole idea of having these Hangouts on air is so that it can be recorded and be replayed. And I will just type an answer to that question and let the person know that all the information he needs will either be accessible in this document later on or by playing the recorded video.
Great. So let me just jump into, something that can be grounds for a very long discussion, but it would be great to just keep this off and probably take it up in the following Hangouts. So someone asked, what do we, I'm assuming we, the GDG organizers in SSA, tell organizations or companies that are wanting to partner with us or host events? So what is it that is in it for them? Okay, so what do you tell? Like, you go approach, I'm assuming, like a telco, and they want to know, okay, so what do we gain from this if we sponsor you as a GDG? Anidi, Charles?
Okay, so the quick answer to that is we plan on doing some sort of a session, some sort of tips and tricks on how to handle communications and application for support for from third parties for GDG events. We do know, and it's a global problem, just so that you know, if Alfred was on this call or any other person who was even at any of the summits, GDG summits we had before IO, it's a global problem, and there are tips, tricks, and best practices for approaching third-party organizations and allowing them to see the value of actually contributing to GDGs, not just because GDGs have Google and then people think, oh, it's Google's benefit or we're spending our money to publicize Google. So we will sort of prepare some sort of documentation, some sort of guidelines, and share best practices from other regions on how they've encountered that. And even within our region, I know some participants, some organizers have been able to swing in other participants like embassies and telcos, and it will be very, very fantastic to also get our own collective knowledge and answer of how those GDGs swung it. So we'll gather that information and we'll share it probably in one of the next bi-weekly updates or in another Hangout.
Cool. And I think a very good follow-up question to that would be, so people are asking, is there like an official document that they can use to prove that they are, officially community organizers?
Website. So when you say an official document, is this in lieu of approaching partners, third-party partners for support? So I would assume that they just want a document that says, hey, I'm a GDG organizer. Over time, what has served as that sort of document is DevSite. The website, it's online, it's global, anybody can access it. So if you go to developers.google.com/groups and say, let's say GDG Nairobi, if you go to the GDG Nairobi listing page, right, it should list the organizers of GDG Nairobi. That's already a stamp of approval saying, I am a GDG organizer. I'm an organizer of GDG Nairobi, and Google knows me, right? So that has been our approach so far. We can't say for now if we are going to be doing an alternative document that GDG organizers can use as a stamp of approval, especially as regards approaching third parties. There's something we can look into subsequently.
Yeah. So it's a difficult one and quite sensitive as well, because in all honesty, putting Google's stamp of approval or stamp of recognition is also something our teams, PR, comms, policy, legal, generally have to get involved with. Even within Google, as a Googler, there are restrictions on stuff you say or how you present yourself. So dev site, great opportunity. And then when we share our tips and tricks, we'll also give you some sort of recognition. I think another thing that is also very good for community organizers is also to show your leadership and your community profile, your community CV outside Google developer groups.
Yeah.
So it also helps if you are a Java user group lead, you're a JCETIF, whatever lead or country mentor. So I think building up your profile in your community, first, it starts with maybe if you're a student, it could be the president of your students' association. If you have a company you're running, your company could also have some credibility. You're the CEO or CTO of this company that is doing, at least people know about. And by the time you say, okay, you're also a GDG organizer, you're a Python user group or Java user group lead, those things help building your credibility. And I think that community credibility is what everyone is concerned about. How can we appear more authentic so that we can garner the kind of support we need or we're usually looking for?
Cool. Then allow me to just take you back to the mentor nomination process. Someone is asking, well, do the GDG mentors, I'm assuming those who will be voted, know their rival candidates for the vote?
So, like we said, all organizers and co-organizers per region in active GDGs are potential mentors. So please let's not look at it as rivals.
No, no rivals.
They're not rivals. You're all organizers and co-organizers, and then based on your ability, capacity, history, your fellow co-organizers amongst yourselves are literally choosing someone who can help the entire community by virtue of his position, his experience, his talent, and then his commitment.
True. This one I think you need not answer, but let me just mention someone is asking what's the process of electing regional mentors. That will be shared on a very detailed email communication that will hopefully go out today, so not to worry about that. Then, just generally again, going back to queries in terms of being a GDG lead, what opportunities are available? I think externally or internally, I'm not quite sure, but we can cover both.
Okay, so I'll have a quick go at this question. And I think when you say what are the opportunities available to GDG leads, one thing that's very important is, first of all, the GDG leads are sort of connected to their communities and they're connected to Google. It's a low-touch sort of relationship. It's not a direct commitment. But I think one very important thing that GDG leads should strive for, one, are twofold. Much like the Google Experts program, which Kenneth highlighted during his talk, you generally are rated on two pillars. One is your technical strength, and the other is your community activity. And this plays out in a lot of places within and outside Google. How active are you in the community and how much do you know? Now, we've provided a lot of resources, and there have never been more resources for people to upskill than there have ever been before. I mean, this is almost like the best time. You've got a lot of content from Google, you've got the offline kits, you've got the Udacity videos. I think the most important and the most impactful thing that GDG leads can do is to skill up and lead their communities aright. People are generally attracted to talent, and I'll give a few examples of a few GDGs I know. Because of the talent of the people who are leading and the work they're doing outside their space, it's very easy for them to get attendees, members, support, and oftentimes even recognition for summits, invitations to, I wouldn't say something as far as IO, but yes, it does count. And just as a corollary to this, we, especially this year, we'll be doing a lot of assessments and kind of rating and guiding amongst our GDGs. And based on these two pillars, as we have learned from the expert program, technical ability, as you skill up, as you learn more, and your community activity, whatever opportunities, let me put it that way, are available to GDG communities or to community leads or to the community, we will tend to favor or encourage those who are showing those two strengths, skilling up technically and activity in the community.
Good stuff. Then someone else is asking, is it possible for us to have IoT kit materials? And I believe that is for GDG events.
Okay, is it possible to have IoT kit materials, Arduino, Raspberry Pis, drones for session communities? The best and most I can say about that is if you have events that you would like to use any of these gadgets or any of these materials for, please do reach out to us to make your request. If you are organizing an event specifically for that platform, you can put it in your budget, and if we do get clearance to fund such things for the community, we will definitely put it in whatever funds are being disbursed to you. Centrally, if we're able to get anything from the central teams, IoT, Internet of Things, Bluetooth beacons, whatever things we're able to get in terms of hardware that are available for the communities, we'll definitely channel them to the various communities. Also still using technical ability and community activity as the judging metrics. But I do know that right now we do have a difficulty with things around customs, things around shipping, and that's why somehow even with your swag, you've been seeing some sort of decrease in the frequency of sending swag. The whole Forex and the customs changes and licenses have kind of like been a bit of, have had an impact on the way things are moved in and out of countries over the last 12 to 24 months.
Yeah, then I think I'll go up on the dock, and I believe this is something that our team in DevRel in SSA will probably take home, to just look at and consider, and we also welcome your suggestions around this. So 3 people giving very, very, important and I think relevant points. Someone saying that GDGs in Africa should focus more on technical content, in their events, and someone else proposing a competition among GDGs in Africa, which I think can be a very good thought point for probably not just a competition, but something much greater that can unite GDGs in the region. And someone else proposing a proper monitoring of event support fund, which I want to say that it's something that we are definitely looking at. So everyone who put their questions and their suggestions, we're going to look at this, and definitely Anidi and Charles will be on top of, your proposals on how we can see how your communities can actually move on to the next level. So Anidi, I think we have 7 minutes to go, and I think you can close by just, the first question someone is asking, how can they participate in the Hangout, and probably just wind up. But I'd say, guys, props, thank you for joining. Thank you for the questions. We really never know what your communities are going through if you do not get to communicate and interact. So keep them coming.
Okay, so hello, how possible is it to participate in the Hangout? So first of all, this was a first in a long time for us. And one thing we didn't want to do was to spend too much time preparing and arranging stuff and just procrastinating. So we wanted to get sort of a just do it, get stuff done mentality, and make sure we connect to the communities as much as possible, and then take a lot of the feedback from here for the next monthly Hangout. So next monthly Hangout, we would as much as possible like to have other members of the community who have stuff to share, people who want to send their questions up front, and then we can actually look at whether there are any other platforms or how best we can optimize this platform and maximize the platform to get as many contributors or panelists on board. So if you have something to share, if you'd love to share a presentation, if you would love to share some of your own tips, tricks, experiences before next month's Hangout, please do well to inform us. Request a slot on the Hangout panel, and we will treat each case based on its merit. Someone asked if we can get nano degree program following the involvement in the community. Last year, the nano degree program, if I'm not mistaken, or the nano degrees that were offered as scholarships or as rewards or incentives to members of the community came from those who participated in Android study jams, submitted apps, and their apps were judged based on quality, effort, and the amount of information they had put there. So we will tend to want to see that exercise or that effort be put by members of the community towards technical excellence. That's the only fair and just way we can share some of these opportunities. We will try to increase the number of opportunities. We'll fight for such budgets. But I think, please, for community members, and this is just generally, we want you to aspire for greater heights. We are in a sort of global competition or global village where what is being done in EMEA, what is being done in Europe, Asia, Latin America, is being judged based on the number of developers and the number of high-quality apps coming out of the region. So while we try to expand the number of slots we get to I/O, the number of events we can support, the number of funds or incentives we can give out, how much swag we can share across our chapters, across our 48 countries, everybody wants to know, okay, what's the quality of work, what's the quality of apps, what's the quality of developers that are coming out from there. It's not enough to say we have 48 people in the region and maybe we have only 5 developer experts. When you go to some other countries, they have 2 GDGs, they have 1 country, and then they have 10 experts. So for our own good, it's very important and very essential that our communities and the developers in our communities skill up, get stuff done, publicize what they are doing so that we can push it out there and gain the kind of recognition and opportunities we all deserve.
I'd like to add to that too by saying it's not just about the nano degree too. So that's the opportunity you are aware of today. As at this time last year, nobody was aware of the opportunity for the nano degree. But it all comes down to what you are doing and how well you are doing at any point in time. So by the end of this year, we don't know what other opportunity will come up. And when that time comes, we'll probably be looking at what you guys are doing or what you guys have done. I don't know if I'm making sense, right? So you have to be up and doing with the resources that you have and with the opportunities that you have so that when the next opportunity comes up, which we don't even know now, you could probably be a beneficiary. Like we had beneficiaries of the nano degrees course last year. So all I'm saying in essence is, if you're an Android developer, do your Android development well. If you're a web developer, do your web development well. Because at the end of the year, or next year, or tomorrow, or next tomorrow, we don't know what opportunities will come up. And when that time comes up, you probably might be a beneficiary if you are up and doing.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, guys, for your taking out time and your bandwidth to be part of this Hangout. Thanks for the questions. We hope we've tried to address many of those questions. We'll take back your suggestions, and we'll leave this to Messi to wrap it up.
Yeah, so I'd say thank you. I know the time zones are different, and probably some of you are at work or at school, but you made the time to join. So keep the questions coming. I'd say, as Anidi said, this is a first in a very long time that we've held the Hangout on air. If you have suggestions on how we can accommodate a lot more of our SSA GDG organizers, kindly feel free to just email us. And I think, communication is key, and we get to learn from each other. Every region, east, west, south, has its own strengths, its own weaknesses, and just communicating and getting to share knowledge and expertise around that will help us grow as a region. So thank you very much. We appreciate you. The mentors who are outgoing, double thumbs up. You've done a great job. So let's vote for the next cohort that comes in. Thanks, guys. So see you next month.
Bye.